Thank you, Loquacious Primate. Loquacious Primate says, I know it is not a solution to the ideology itself, but if more people just rejected and unplugged from social media, would that at least soften the blows and rampant pace of cancel culture? Maybe, but it depends how you can use social media, right? Because we use social media to connect with all of you guys, right? Like we're building Telegram as social media. Like we just had a conversation about locals and a parlay and all that stuff. Like you can build communities on social media as well. So I guess maybe stop getting your news from social media echo chambers, I guess. But I think social media definitely has contributed negatively because of the anonymity and because of the I think even more than the anonymity, I think it's probably the conformity that you talked about. I think you touched on this in the last show, Carrie, but I think you said something about, there's all the Instagram people, or I would call them Facebook people because I'm older, but whatever, who like posting pictures of like, here's my perfect meal, here's my perfect yoga pants, here's my perfect sunny day on the beach. Like, yeah. Look at my life, I'm so great. All those things which were concrete things in the past, all those things that were the consumerism virtues, like consumerism signaling, like status symbols. The new status symbol has switched to virtue signal status symbols, right? So they're now Black Lives Matter. Here's my black box. Like they're all they're doing the same thing. It's the same thing as a picture of their new yoga pants. It's just like they're doing it for the same kind of adulation that they want for their great fish fillet that they posted last week. So these people aren't thinkers at all. They are just conformists. They're just conforming. And I think that conformity, again, getting back to what we were talking about before, the willingness to submit to authority and the willingness to conform and submit to the peer pressure, those are two very, very dangerous attributes of humans. And some good can come out of conformity a little bit sometimes, I guess, but they're very, very dangerous attributes. And I think one of the reasons you see the social justice mobs have so much power online is precisely because that conformity is being triggered in a way that it's hard to trigger in real life. Because if you remember the Milgram experiment, so there was different variations. There was the variation where the person being, quote, tortured was in a room that you couldn't see, but you could hear them. And this is about a submission to authority, but I think it would hold true for conformity as well. When you could hear them but not see them, there were like 2/3 of the people like went ahead and tortured the person. But there was a version where they were sitting in the room with you, and you had to actually hold their hand down onto the little shock pad, right? There was still, I think, something like 20% of the people would they would do that. But that's much different than 2/3. The compliance dropped quite a lot. And I think the same probably holds true for conformity. If, social media has enough distance that if we were all in a room together, you probably wouldn't pile on Carrie and yell about how she's racist. But if you're on Facebook together and she's just a little icon and no one knows who this Carrie Smith person is, bam, piling on becomes like, you get praise from people that you do know, and like other icons in there. It's much easier to get caught up in that. So, I guess it's a long-winded answer. Yes, social media is a problem, I guess.
But it's the same thing as a mob in real life. When you are in a mob, like these rioters and looters, you become more anonymous because you become part of this group, this mob mentality, and that's kind of what you see happening online, even more likely online because you're not actually face to face with people. But it's
that's
like
what I'm saying.
Become a part of this group. Yeah.
And I think actually, how you've talked about the threshold theory? I forget whose theory it was, but the threshold theory about mobs where there's maybe a certain percentage of people very low that will throw the first stone, but then there's more people that if they see one other person throw a stone, they'll throw a stone, and then there's more people that if they see two people throw a stone, they'll throw a stone, and it can spiral out of everyone throwing stones. I think that my guess is that threshold is actually much lower online where there's a little bit of anonymity. So, people who in real life wouldn't throw the first stone at all might online be willing to be like, it's just online. I'll throw a stone. There's a little bit of
Yeah,
anonymity
they'll
here.
totally
I'll
throw-
see how the
yeah.
lobbing of the stone goes. Right.